Thank you for joining. We're going to discuss Ryan Garcia's performance against Javier Fortuna, what that means at the 140 division, or perhaps the 135. We'll talk more about that. But first, it's really about Ryan Garcia and the performance he put on against Fortuna. The guy was clearly outmatched, but that doesn't mean that Garcia did not execute perfectly at some key moments in that fight. He had a game plan. He laid down the blueprint early in the first round. He never really deviated from it. It was about as dominant performance as you could hope to have, and it certainly puts his name back in the mix for some large money fights and certainly some high headlines, some big headline fights, even at the 140. We're going to talk about what's available for him at 140. But stay tuned. We'll be right back. I want to let the first round play out here in the first few seconds because it's important, because Garcia literally just has the game plan and the blueprint right down in front of us. The first 30 seconds is pretty much the same throughout the fight. It's a hard jab. It's a snappy jab. It's a lead hook. He's disguising that hook as a jab. He's hooking off of his jab. He's trying to land a chopping hook over the top of Fortuna's right lead hand, obviously, because Fortuna is a southpaw. He's also using that right hand, that back hand, as a jab by taking that front foot off the center line, lining that back shoulder up middle ways through Fortuna, and shooting that right down like a jab. The same thing a southpaw typically does to an orthodox fighter. It's just that Garcia was able to do his own tricks, take some of that away from him. It's clear that Garcia has sparred a lot with southpaws during his training camp. Probably is in preparation for Tank Davis, because he looks a lot better than he did against Luke Campbell. When he fought him, Luke Campbell being a southpaw and actually dropped Garcia. Certainly, his hand speed and power was just way too much for Fortuna, and you can see Fortuna just within the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, he was sensing problems already, and Garcia just stayed committed to that game plan. He did not overcommit, even when he had him hurt later in fourth and fifth. He knew that Fortuna was going to walk into something. All of this is right here in the first round for us to see. We're not going to watch the entire first round, but it's important just to how committed Garcia was to his game plan. It's a testament to Joe Goosen and how these two guys are working together. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to let this play a little bit here. We're going to watch some right off the bat. Big jab. Look at and he pulls. Jab, pull. And we'll start seeing some hooks come out early. There it goes. One over the lead hand. Back to jabbing. Back to jabbing. Using that distance, that range, as a good lead hook. Fortuna got under it. Then we'll start seeing a right hand come down, right down the middle. He's going to take that angle. Wow, that landed just clean. There it goes again. Just a nice mix and variation of attacks here. There goes down to the body. He's got that jab working, so he can afford to do those things. Because of that movement forward, he disguises it so well. Fortuna is expecting jab, and before you know it, Garcia is landed a hook behind the elbow, and that bothered Fortuna. You can tell here. Right here, he tries to catch him coming in with a check hook. Just the timing was off. Both fighters are still fresh. So he said right hand pull. Garcia's throwing that right hand pull. And right here, he tries it again. Credit to him for trying it. He knew this was going to be, advantage if Fortuna was coming in. Using that southpaw angle, it makes sense that southpaw would end up coming off the center line, trying to shoot his left down the middle. Meanwhile, he's open to a hook as long as you can pull back. All right, we're going to jump into the second round here. Second round looks like a lot like the first round. Same posture, jabbing. Garcia's in the pocket a little more with his hands up. Now he has that left hand, that high guard. That makes it easier for him to hook. If that guard is already up and he can catch a shot, all he's got to do is turn his hips and shoulders and fire that hook over the top of Fortuna's glove, catch him in the temple, ear, and land a good concussive shot. Okay. Jab, tap, tap, pull. There goes the hook. So you remember when we talked about this in the first round, guys. We're going to come back to this. This is important. Okay, watch him. He shoots that right, pulls. Jab, keeps that left hand out. Jab, pull. There goes the hook. Now watch this right. Boom. That's exactly what he tried to get accomplished in the first, was that jab pull or right hand pull. As he comes in, he lands that sweeping left. That one landed. Fortuna resets. Comes back, and then by this time Garcia's already jabbed and pulled back and then has a right hand waiting for him. That was a good shot. That probably rock Fortuna as it kind of unfolds here, and it just kind of breaks down further, I should say, as we go on. We're going to jump to the third. Again, looks a lot like the first. There comes a straight right hand. Matter of fact, actually, I noticed that Garcia kind of went back to his game plan here in this round over the second round. He got really aggressive I wouldn't say aggressive, but a fight broke out. I don't think he was quite ready for that. Not meaning that he didn't come to fight, but I mean he wants to break Fortuna down. He don't want to take any chances, and he just fought a very smart, disciplined fight. I like his high guard though, because he's able to catch and just counter really quick. Oh yeah, this is the shots here where he's throwing hard, but there's other angles and different highlights. He's not really committing. Like there's a line there, and his feet aren't stepping across that line because he does not want to get caught with anything silly. Fortuna's a very experienced fighter. He's a former world champion, and you can see Garcia was wanting Fortuna to come into those punches himself with little risk to him, a little risk to Garcia. It just didn't work out. Fortuna didn't buy the bait. He was sitting on the ropes, wanting Garcia to come in so he could land something crafty and roll a nice left hand over the top of Garcia's right hand and maybe hurt him, get him out of there, or turn the fight around. Garcia wasn't buying it. As I said at the beginning, every the game plan was set. There's nothing different from now than it was in the first 30 seconds of the first round. Garcia's getting a little closer. He's inching up a little more. He's happy staying in that pocket. He believes his hand speed is going to carry this fight, and he's correct. He's seen enough of Fortuna to know that it's just a matter of time before he goes. There goes that nice left hand I was telling you about, but Garcia blocked that. Fortuna saw it too, landed a nice sweeping left hand, but fortunately for Garcia, his right hand was up and he caught it. There's the hard shots. Garcia's really sitting on him now. He's really turning those hands over. That was a hell of a combo. So that was a 2-3-2. I want to go back and look at this. Is some basic stuff here. Nice basic stuff. Catches that punch. Boom. Goes downstairs. Level change. Sticks that jab out. Throws that sweeping right hand. Does it again. There it goes. He was trying to get him out of there. This was a very mean version of Garcia, this fight. He really opens up on Fortuna. And Fortuna's kind of out of ideas here. He's got his guard up, and Garcia's really putting it on him now. We're going to see this hook go to the body, and it's a lot like his jab. And Fortuna didn't know what was happening here. He disguised it well. At the last minute, he drops that front shoulder, hooks him right behind the elbow. That shot to the liver really hurt him. He spit his mouthpiece out. He got some extra time. Being a smart veteran, he knows how to play the game here a little bit. There goes back downstairs. Now watch. It's a 2 down the middle. Boom. Oh, yes. That buckled him. And look, he's trying to get him out of here. But look, he composes himself. He doesn't rush headlong in there. He composes himself, lands his shot, and he says, you know what, we're going to come back to this. We have to come back. And he was right. Garcia pulls back, shoots the right hand down the middle. All of this is very routine at this point, working off that big jab. He's getting really aggressive with his punches. It's almost like he can sense when he's ready to go. He looks at his body language. He looks at Fortuna's body language. He goes downstairs. He's in and out. The flat-footed talk of Garcia, I don't see it. I just see a guy who likes to stay on the balls of his feet, sit on his punches. But he can move in and out and mix up his combos quite well. And I'll show you how this is going to happen. There's going to be a straight right. And concussed him again. That's a good concussive temple shot. This reason why this works, because that right hand has been coming down the middle so much. Fortuna actually slips it and walks into a left hook. Oh, as he's coming back to throw his own left. It's a jab, 2 and a 3. We're going to see this here, and this is ultimately what finishes it. Getting high guard up. Got that jab out touching. Garcia's kind of through playing around. I mean, you can see because he's not jabbing. He's waiting to counter now. There it goes. You could tell the whole game plan. I say the game plan. The approach changed here in this round. Notice he's not really overly jabbing. He's trying to just time it. He knows it's a matter of time. See, he backs off the jab, tries to throw that hook. And then right here, That big chopping hook that he's been trying to land since round one, right over the guard. The right hand lands. Obviously, it completely distracts him and occupies him. And then here comes the hook over the top of his lead right hand, and that sets him out because that was the second shot in the same place. There just wasn't much Fortuna could offer after that. So it was a great performance by Garcia. Talk about sticking to a game plan. He did well in this fight. So let's talk about what's going to happen next, potentially for the fight with Ryan Garcia. He's obviously Tank Davis is the big talk, and that's where the money's at. But there's a lot of issues with that. First of all, it's the rival promotions and rival networks. Garcia fights for DAZN. Davis fights on Showtime. Garcia's with Golden Boy. Davis is with Mayweather Promotions. That would mean Oscar De La Hoya and Mayweather have to get together and see how that would work out. Garcia says he's not going back down to 135. It's just hard to see that. It's hard to see Davis moving up to 140, giving up such a size advantage. We just saw what happened to Fortuna. Obviously, we know that Davis is not at Fortuna, but still, the size advantage is a lot. And Davis has a pay-per-view following. Losing that to chase a big money fight when is it worth the money? Can you make just as much money fighting for the title at 135? So if the junior welterweight limit, we're not going to be deprived of any good fights just because Tank Davis doesn't move up to 140 and to fight a much larger guy in a different weight class he doesn't even belong to. There's fights to be made at the 140. It's loaded at the top five. I don't see anybody on the back five giving Garcia a lot of trouble, but it would be a great opportunity for Garcia to move up in the top five, top three, get a title shot next year. But the dark horse here, and it's a fight that makes sense, is Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo's left the 135, lost his belts to Kambosos Jr., which now Haney owns. Lopez has no intentions of fighting 135 anymore. He says he stayed there too long anyway for at least a couple of fights. He's at 140. He's a big boy type, seek and destroy, big, heavy jab, likes to come in there and fight, likes to bang. So that's the fight that makes sense. Lopez wants to get back in the mix. He wants to get the titles again. He wants to fight for titles as soon as next year. Garcia is a big money fight for him. He wins that fight. It puts him back at the top. He gets the go ahead, and he's competing for belts next year. It's likewise for Garcia. He's 23. It's he needs a big fight too. He needs a big money fight, but he needs a big name fight, so he can also go and fight for those titles next year. But I believe those are the two fights that make more sense. The Davis fight is just a little contrived, a little forced. You're asking a guy you're dragging him up to a whole nother weight division. He's just undersized for it. Meanwhile, you got Lopez sitting right there. He's looking, and he's looking to fight. So that's what makes sense to me. I think that's what we're going to see, and I for one, want to see that more than a Davis fight. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, drop it below. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.